I'm going to give a talk. I haven't given a talk in 3 weeks. Wow.
Fresh.
So as the movie industry entices us into these cool theaters for its summer blockbusters, so too does Joyful Gathering. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be delving into titles of movies that a couple of years ago they were a summer blockbusters. So today we go back to the future. And I've been told by one of our members that I must see the movie X-Men. So I'll be seeing that this week. I would have seen it before, but I just got the memo yesterday. So, in our beautiful Science of Mind teachings, we are taught to set our intentions, to create mental equivalents, which we're going to go into, so that we can stretch to attain our God-given heart's oneness. Because our heart is so connected to this divinity. Holmes defines mental equivalent in his Science of Mind textbook, saying, having a subjective idea of the desired experience. As we bring ourselves into a greater vision than the range of our present concepts, we can then induce a greater concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. So the universal law that we speak of, because God is love and law, because it gives back, the law gives back, it responds to mental pictures. So the more and the clearer, and the more these pictures are, and the clearer they are, the better the demonstration in our life is. So that's a mental equivalent, is having the picture in your mind, in your imagination of what you want to experience. Charles Fillmore, who founded Unity with Myrtle, his wife, in his book Talks on Truth, writes, then if I want to see the real expression of divine mind in my body, all I have to do is to imagine it mentally. I must put my I am identity into it and affirm that the very perfect body, as realized by God, is now made manifest in my hands, my feet, my heart, and in every part of my organism. And he writes, is that good logic? Of course it is. Will it work? Of course it will. This is the real secret, he says, of metaphysical healing. In fact, it is the real secret of metaphysical demonstration, manifestation. By holding on to what we desire while we live in this moment. And while this is absolutely how we create the life of our dreams, there are pitfalls in this. So we're going to avoid some of these pitfalls. And how? This is how. This is part of how. This we're going to talk about today, to keep ourselves really focused in the now while we hold that great vision of our heart's desire, the thing that is pulling us into really wanting to become more of who we are and that which we don't even know yet. Because our goals and dreams are in the future, yes? We can become very unhappy in this now moment, even frustrated and depressed. Right here, right now, we might have our dream, but right here, right now, maybe we're not feeling the fulfillment. And there was a recent cartoon that kind of demonstrates this a little bit, in which a woman is standing in a line in a grocery store, and in front of her is a child having a tantrum, screaming at the top of his lungs. So she turns to the man behind her and says, I want to live in the moment, just not this moment, any moment, the moment on the beach. So really staying in the moment is a balancing act, yeah? So this is what we need to master, is this balancing act. So let me clarify then. If you can master, if we will, want to be happy, and I think most of us want to be happy, and want to actually bring our goals and our dreams into our experience. So it is to, So this is the part that I really want to emphasize. Simultaneously get back to the present, even as we envision our future. So you see where we're going with this. Let me say that again. I think that's really cool. The balancing act, then, we must master if we want to be happy. Like I said, I'm sure we all do. And if we want to actually bring our dreams and goals into our experiences, is to simultaneously get back to the present, even as we envision our future. You get that? Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. Sometimes it can be a little challenging when you're going through this stuff called life that we chose to come in and experience. Things happen that don't feel good, but you have your dreams. You have your desires. You have your goals. And so, like I said, it's not the easiest thing, but there's a balance that we're going to learn a little bit today. So there's a story of a skilled tightrope walker who performs an amazing stunt over Niagara Falls by walking across this tightrope with a wheelbarrow. Things were going very well, and he got halfway across, and all of a sudden there was a gust of wind, and the line started waving to and fro, and he's got to really focus and stay on this, but he managed to make it across. And when he had his feet firmly planted on the ground on the other side, a fan came running up and hugged him and started telling him that he was the greatest tightrope walker that he's ever seen in the history of the world even. And he knew that the tightrope walker was so skilled and so wonderful that he could absolutely go back again across that tightrope, wheeling that wheelbarrow. And the tightrope walker looked out of this rope as it's swaying, and he said, "Do you really think I could make it across again? You really have that much faith in me?" And "Absolutely," shouted the fan. "Absolutely. Well, in that case, I'm going to do it, but you jump in." So that's just to emphasize that life is truly a balancing act. And it feels sometimes like we are on a tightrope, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But having faith in our ability to do it, to do this thing called life, is so important. Having that faith, the trust that there's a universal good that is supporting us all of the time. So how do we achieve this balance? How do we achieve this balance of living here and now while envisioning what our dreams are? And our dreams always lead to the freer, fuller, more joyful way of living life, because that is what it all boils down to. Living a life of joy, of happiness, of peace. So I want to give you 3 ideas. First, the first idea is stand on your spiritual beliefs to give you faith in the outcome. Stand on your beliefs in love, which is God's infinite givingness, always giving. This universal light, this force, this energy, this God is always giving of itself to that which it creates. And also law, the law which absolutely works. And those who have taken our foundation class and those who are going to take it understand about the thought going into the law, becoming the effect, like the seed going into the soil and becoming the plant. What you plant is what you experience. So that's the creative process. And here's a wonderful line from A Course in Miracles. Those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait, and wait without anxiety. So when we know that we are connected to that almighty presence, to the universal all-providing love energy, and we know that the law is always at work, then we can allow ourselves to be patient, which is That is, they say it's a virtue, and it's something I'm working on myself. Patience. Patience. Like, how come it doesn't come now? I've already done all my prayer work. I've done everything. I've done my meditation. I've affirmed. I've taken all these classes. Why isn't it working now? Well, look at what we're putting into the law. And, you know, I do it too. That's why a few things haven't manifested. Got to get clearer. We got to get clearer. So when we become, think about this, when we become impatient, we literally devalue ourselves and our connection to the divine Holy Spirit. Impatience is a failure to trust in the universal intelligence. We don't fully trust.
Yeah.
Impatience is a failure to trust in the universal intelligence. And it implies that we are separate from this all-pervading, omnipresent spirit. Remember, the law is working. This law is always working. The law of cause and effect, if you want to give it the law of attraction, however you want to define the law, it's so much more than that, but it's always giving back what we put into it, what we feel into it, what we think into it. And when we are certain, think about this, when you're really certain that the outcome is assured, then, without any upset, without any anxiety, without any sense of urgency, then we're able to turn our attention in the now moment to what occupies our life while still holding our dreams. And we can still stand on our spiritual beliefs, even when something doesn't appear to be working out exactly how we expect it to. It doesn't look exactly as we feel that it should look. It's that trust. It's the trust because the law always working. And remember, we say this or something better. Because many times when I've let go and let God and stepped back and set my intention and just released it, that's when the universal good rushes in and always it's something better than I could ever imagine. Because this infinite mind intelligence which fills us and is always present, always gives more than we can imagine. We got to start that process by holding a clear vision of what we want and trusting in the process. Mike Dooley, in his great book, Leveraging the Universe, wrote, "Though we can't see around the bend in our lives any more than we can look ahead in a movie, for the efforts that we make today, options and possibilities are created for us tomorrow. And from the zenith of our hidden magnificence, that which we most want and love will be choreographed to present itself." So great. I love that inner magnificence. Do you know that each and every one of you has an inner magnificence? It shines, it radiates. You do.
Yep.
But it's that believing it, really believing it. So, I just get like, oh, God is so good. So the first thing we do then to strike this balance of getting back to the future, or the present, getting back to the present while we are dreaming of our future, is to stand firmly in our beliefs in God's perfect love and law outpicturing in our world. To just really believe this or something better. When things don't turn out the way we want, it's always for a reason. We say this, but do we believe it? And do we then look for the reason? It's okay to be disappointed for a moment or two. But don't stay in the disappointment. You want to pull yourself out into knowing that this didn't take place because there's something so much better waiting for me to claim it. Yes, yes. Master what is in front of you. How about that? Keep doing, I forgot the second one, I just get so carried away. The second one is do all you can with what you have now.
Yes.
Do all you can with what you have now. Because we don't always appreciate what's in front of us, what's right there. So keep on doing what you're doing, but doing it better. Make that commitment. Wallace Wattles talks about that in his book, The Science of Getting Rich. Hold your vision and your dreams, but give to your present moment even more. Giving more now is setting that law in motion to bring about even bigger and better things for us. If you're looking and you're looking and your gaze is always locked on the horizon, for this is what I want, this is what I want, you're probably not giving 100% or even 50% to the now moment. You're not fully present. In fact, the more you dislike whatever you're doing, the worse you're probably going to do it. Trust us. Awesome. All the many me's. Attitude plays a huge part. Appreciating that you have something to do with seeing this as a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to something better. Our lives in this moment, stepping stone to something even greater and better. And making the best of your situation right now with a smile and a glad heart. You hear this all the time. It's that attitude of gratitude. It's that appreciation. What a frequency that is. It brings more good into our lives. So that's mastering what is in front of you in life. And as soon as you master what's in front of you, you've raised yourself to the next plateau. Then you move from there, and you move from there. Whereas if you don't master what is in front of you, your life can feel like it's floundering. And that's the way it's going to feel. So bringing our focus into this is in front of me, my sister says this all the time. Every time, she's always like, things are taking place in her life all of the time. And they look like really not harmonious, joyful experiences. But she likes to say, well, it is what it is, so I got to do what I got to do. And she didn't say that last part, I just did. Because I think now I got to tell her that one, because it's true. It's like life throws us curves, so it is what it is. What can I learn? How can I move forward right here, right now? So I want to finish from Dooley in the Leverage of the Universe, in that passage I shared before, when he says, though we can see around the bend in our lives any more than we can look ahead in a movie, for the efforts that we make today, options and possibilities are created for us tomorrow. And from the zenith of our hidden magnificence, that which we most want and love will be choreographed to present itself. All that is required is that we continue creating traction through action. Creating traction through action, day after day, starting from where we all are, all of which becomes easier, and we understand our power and its source, while taking stock, he writes, of our present situation, weighing our preferences and physically moving. Then the movie reel never gets stuck. It keeps rolling forward. And our own inevitable celebration draws near until ultimately the day dawns when we can look back on how the story unfolded, laughing to ourselves. So of course, I didn't need to have to worry about that. You ever do that in your life? You see, you have this wonderful experience in your life. But then when you look back at all the disappointments, all that look like failures, you didn't feel that then. But everything leads to the next step, the next step. Author Patrick McBride wrote a really great little quote when he said, you can only start from where you are, and you can only begin in the present. You can only start now, in this moment. Forget about the past. This moment, set your intention. Isaac Newton once said, if two angels were sent down from heaven, one to conduct an empire and the other to sweep a street, they would feel no inclination to change employment. An angel would know that no matter what the task, there is an opportunity to bring light and joy. So the deeper our understanding is, the more expansive our life becomes. Do all you can do with where you are now. So the third one is, I like this one, live full out. Just think of that. Live full out. And I love this quote from the Abraham, Jerry and Esther Hicks. Well, he's still with us. He's just not in physical form. Anyway, this is a quote from the Abraham material where they write, "Make up your mind that nothing is more important than how you feel now. Because now is everything. Now is the whole enchilada. Now is the power of me. Now, now, now. You might as well start somewhere, and it might as well be now. Why not start improving your life now, now, now?" Or this is another quote from Rhonda Burns, the creator of The Secret. She has this other book that's The Secret Daily Teachings. And she writes on this. She says, "Many people focus on the one thing they want and then forget to be grateful for all the things they have. Without gratitude, you cannot achieve anything through the law of attraction. Because if you are not emanating gratitude from your being, then by default, hear this, by default, you are emanating ungratefulness." I'll say that again.
Yeah.
If you are not emanating gratitude from your being, then by default, you are emanating ungratefulness. So it's be proactive and use the frequency of your being to receive what you want. Only you can do this for you. No one else can do or live our lives for us. We think that if something would change, if a person would appear, if a situation at work would be different, whatever it is, that then you could be happy. It's here and now. Feel the gratitude. Or else the law is giving you the exact opposite. Emmett Fox, great New Thought writer, wrote, "The art of life is to live in the present moment and to make that moment as perfect as we can by realization that we are the instruments and expressions of God himself." All these great masters are saying the same thing. The Buddha told this parable. A man traveling across a field encountered a tiger. He fled, the tiger after him. Coming to a precipice, he caught hold of a root of a wild vine hanging over the cliff, and he swung himself to the edge. And the tiger sniffed at him from above. Trembling, the man looked down below, and there were a bunch of hungry-looking tigers looking up at him. And only the vine sustained him. And so these two mice come along. This isn't a joke, it's actually what the Buddha said. Two mice come along, and they're gnawing at the rope, the vine that he's hanging from. So what does the man do? You might have heard this before. He sees this luscious strawberry right near him. He reaches out, grabs the strawberry, and just enjoys it. And so the whole point of that, being the Buddha of great wisdom, infinite enlightenment, is to be present in the moment. So that strawberry was his moment, and it filled him with great joy. Every single moment can be spiritual. It can be spiritual, it is spiritual, spiritual nourishment. Spiritual nourishment. Even the smallest moment can truly be food for our spiritual growth. In the book Disappointment by Jim Mayfield, he wrote, it's a little poem. "I went searching for a rose one newborn summer day. I only found a perfect orchid that grew along the way. How very sad it made me to fail so miserably. I couldn't find a rose that day. Oh, woe is me." So I say, how many perfect orchids are we bypassing each day because we have an idea of how this is supposed to look, and it doesn't always look that way. What we want, that's why it's so important to get in touch with what we want to feel. What is the spiritual truth, which is peace, love, joy, wholeness, limitless possibilities that we want to feel. Get in touch with that and let it show up. However, the divine mind has it show up because it's going to be better than what we could imagine. And to end, Ernest Holmes wrote in Science of Mind, "There is no uncertainty about my future, and no fear as a result of my past. I live in the eternal now, which is filled with good alone. Goodness and beauty follow me. Peace and joy accompany me. Happiness and wholeness fill my entire being with the realization of love and perfection." So standing on that tightrope of life, balancing our goals and our dreams for the future while being present in the now moment. And it does take a delicate balancing to do both. That's how we manifest. So our 3 ideas for this morning then are: stand on your spiritual beliefs that there is only one power, which is love and law. Do all you can with what you have now, and live life full out. So let us enter into this present moment and make that moment as perfect as we can. And that is how we build and build and build our dreams for tomorrow.
So